This happened to be a conversation between Moses and God, as at the time where he was having a really downtime in the wilderness. He got fed up. He told God, God, please, unless you lead us, unless your presence go with us, we are not going anywhere. When you think about God's presence in the life of a believer, don't you think it's something that sets apart a believer's journey, believer's affair?
It's definitely something because sincerely, how would people know that um you're a believer or that you're set apart? Is we have the Holy Spirit in us, right? But then there's the part of the presence when you carry the presence, right? Especially when you've stayed soaking the presence, and there's that calming thing, there's that direction, and all of that. But then the thing now is, how do we get to that point? Right? Most of us we didn't know how to do it, or we don't know how to do it. Especially when new believers, they're like, we're praying and all of that, but how exactly can we stay in the presence? How do we carry the presence of God?
It's something that should be cultivated as a believer. It's part of our faith walk. Knowing how to cultivate the presence of God and knowing how to enjoy the presence of God. So, yes, unlike the dispensation that Moses found himself in, we now carry the presence of God as the new creation. So, in Romans, Paul was explaining to us that this is how God sees us. By virtue of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit we carry, we are now the sons of God. And those who are led by the Spirit of God are the sons of God. So we no longer have to build a tabernacle like a physical container to go and look for how to cultivate here and there to bring about the presence of God. The Bible assures us and tells us that the moment you get born again and you're filled with the Holy Spirit, automatically you now carry you now carry the presence of God. You have God living inside of you.
So you have the presence of God with you. But how? How do you cultivate that presence of God? So how in this present day and time when you have the presence of God? Okay.
I think one of Newton's law of motion states that an object will remain in a state of rest until an external force acts upon it. So likewise, you might have the potential energy, which is like a resident energy. You might have that thing just living inside of you. You might have it in your possession, but that doesn't necessarily mean you get to enjoy it. That doesn't necessarily assure you that, okay, as long as it's just there without being acted upon, then you get to see results, you get to see things in motion. So I think this little illustration tells us believers that even if we have the Holy Spirit resident in us, there's still work for us to do. So I think that now brings us to what we were talking about, which is cultivating the presence of God. So yeah, we have it, but what do we do as believers to make sure we are enjoying what we have? Does the Bible or does God encourage lazy Christians? So I just have never, right? So I just have the Holy Spirit. I just receive salvation and that's it. Is that all that there is? Is there something to be enjoyed? How can I enjoy it?
One particular thing for me is Jesus, right? Where he took out time. In Luke 5:16, and there's another in Mark where he actually um went outside from the people around him, right? And whenever I read those scriptures, it's like he was consciously trying to stay away from distractions, right? So there's one part where in your Christian life or as a new believer where you're trying to get into that whole presence, knowing that God is in you and creating a relationship and blah, blah, blah. You have to first of all set out the time where you know that okay, this is me and God. And it's not just setting out a time. You cannot just say it's 5 p.m. I'm going to pray with God and then you have to pray. It's not possible. Like there's going to be distractions and all of that. You have to be realistic. Set out a time where it's just going to be you and God. I think another thing with like Brother Moses, when he went to get the commandments, he didn't do it when the where he was with the people. Because definitely there'll be distractions and all of that. Like he had to go up to it was an instruction anyway, but he it was that he would be set apart so he could get whatever he's getting in God, stay in the presence of God without any distraction. I think it's very, very important that whole distraction part. But sometimes you see a lot of people praying. Even our phones are distractions. We're like, oh, our phones. or there's someone by the side and we're like, yes, 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 keep it for me. Da, 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 da. It doesn't work that way. So one way we can actually cultivate that presence and always be in that state of knowing or having the presence of God is that we'll set out time and we'll just yeah, basically we'll set out time to talk to our maker, to talk to God and just be there.
And you know this thing about Jesus Christ first called us friends. He said that he laid down his life for his friend. Nobody took it from him. Nobody can take it from him, unless the fact that he chose to lay it down. So he died for his friends, so that his friends can become co-heirs with himself. So this thing he talked about setting out time, it made me think about how we even treat our friendship here on earth. Some of us that value relationship, we know how much of work and intentionality, yeah, we put into building something just friendship with your fellow human being. You know the person's birthday, you take out time to know the person, you check up on the person. If you tell the person let's meet here by 12:30, please let's remove Nigerian time. But either way, we still find time to make up to the person. We appreciate the person. We don't talk to the person anyhow. So why are we now treating the relationship we have with God as if it's nothing? And yet we are believers, and yet we are friends of God. And you know one thing, if we take our time as believers to honor God, to be consistent in seeking his face, just like you said, I think there are just a lot of things that we believers can enjoy from having the presence of God resident inside of us.